Welcome to our June 13th Board of Selectmen meeting. I'm sorry we're starting a little late. We had an executive session to vote on the town administrator's contract. Today's meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with legislation signed by Governor Healy on March 29, 2023. For this meeting, the Board of Selectmen is convening by Zoom, as posted on the town's website. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the meeting. As a preliminary matter, I'm going to confirm that all members of the board are present and can hear me. I am Bob Springett, Chair of the BOS.
John Jeffries, present.
Robin Hunter, present.
Okay. So I got to get to the agenda. And I am at the agenda. So first order of business, 6:45, is citizen comments.
And did you see there was an email that we received?
I did. I didn't have time to read the email, but I did see it. So what is the protocol?
Basically, it was a request by the prior members of the Carroll Management Advisory Committee that the Board of Selectmen set up a meeting to discuss the community center management and not make a decision this evening. That was the—
I'm sorry, to do what?
To basically have a discussion with those members, as well as, I'm assuming, Park and Rec, prior to making a decision.
We've already made a decision.
So, again, and I don't know if we're planning to discuss this today, but there seems to be a communication issue here where both sides aren't listening but hearing what they want to hear. And I agree with you, Bob. I think going back to 2019, we always said that this is a town building. Town buildings need to be run by town employees, and as such, we would need to hire a operations person for the Carroll Community Center, I should stop calling it Carroll. And so from my point of view, we've always been transparent about that. We've also talked at length about this is a center for the community. And as such, the key stakeholders such as COA, Park and Rec, and the community at large, because in our conversations with other community centers, need to be part of a committee that helps make sure that the resources are properly allocated so that the entire community
can
benefit from the system.
Right, but again, the decision's been made. I don't understand.
Right.
So at one point I had drafted a letter that I intended to send to the CMAC and Park and Rec, outlining, what the processes have been and why we have chosen what we have chosen. I'm happy to do that again. If there is a preference for a joint meeting, that's fine.
Yeah. I think the draft letter that you put together is a good outline. I also think we should just have a meeting at some point, because I don't understand what isn't being heard. I feel as though the way the job description was written, the way we've communicated this has always been This is a center for the community, and the reason the operations person in charge of the building needs to report to the Board of Selectmen is it is a Board of Selectmen's building, and we have responsibilities. But as far as the allocation of resources, that's for the entire community at large, which, you know, is going to be Park and Rec, COA, and community members.
That's exactly right.
Right, because those are the, so I don't understand, you know, again, you know, it's change is hard. I think we all, in effect, want the same thing, but we're not listening to one another, and we need to just, this is the start. You know, the good news is we all get a community center. So let's be a community and work together to make sure that it runs as efficiently as possible. And you know what? What we think at first is the way to go, I bet we'll have tweaks along the way, because that's what every community center has told us.
Yep.
Oh, but I think it might be good to have a meeting.
All right. So
Bob, I suggest send the letter. You have the meeting with whoever wants to have the conversation with the Board of Selectmen. There's no need to do it with everybody. It's been something we've been dealing with for quite a long time. 2
years.
Yeah. The other part is my focus on this whole item is going to be our next topic. We've literally just been discussing this for the past several days with regards to the contract and the introduction of our new town administrator. The town administrator's focus, quite literally, of these particular line items and job descriptions are something that we literally just spoke about and we literally just covered with regards to the clarity of his job and his job description and the reports that will come directly to him. Right?
Okay. I really have this teed up for a little later on in the meeting. So I'm going to postpone this discussion and go to 1.1.
Great.
Town administrator employment agreement.
Perfect segue.
Assuming I can.
I'm having similar issues, Bob. It's not my night.
Yeah, I know. It's bouncing back and forth.
Right.
So in theory, I have downloaded the here we go. Okay.
Right.
So the board will vote on the new town administrator's employment agreement. I move to appoint Michael Blanchard as Dover's town administrator effective July 17th, 2023, and to approve and sign the employment agreement between the town and Mr. Blanchard. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, Bob Springett.
Aye, John Jeffries.
Aye, Robin Hunter. And just, you know, with some background information, we are very pleased to have Michael Blanchard on board. We believe he's going to be a great addition to the town. The contract that we entered into him is based upon the contract that we had with our former town administrator. It reflects current market conditions. Mike will be starting July 17th. However, he has committed to working with the town now on the goals and objectives that we set up, and also getting the ball rolling on some of these key hires that we need to add. So he is very, very excited to hit the ground running, meet citizens, meet his team, and work with everybody to make Dover a great place to work.
Look forward to having him on board.
Right.
I wish it was June 17th.
Right, but he had a notice period and then he had a planned vacation. So
Okay.
But very excited to have him on board, and maybe when he comes on board, he'll be honest about his preference of being called Michael or Mike. I just go back and forth.
Why don't we call him Ralph?
So,
All right, that's
Thank
good.
you.
That's a big deal.
yeah, it is a big
Number
deal.
1.2, approve the use of 100,000 in American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds for the Claybrook Road reconstruction project. And we have someone I haven't seen in a while, Mr. McCabe, Kevin McCabe. Come to the podium, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So it's actually, this will be kind of two parts. The first part would be for the board to vote the use of the $100,000 of ARPA funds for the project. And then there would be a second motion after the funding is there for the project to authorize the town administrator to enter into a contract with ET&L Corp. Out of Stowe to begin the construction for Claybrook Road. In the packet I'd sent over, part of the bid phase and contract with our design engineer Woodard & Curran. They did a reference check. They did reviews, and that came back positive. They did a similar project in North Andover. It was a little bit smaller. It was 300 linear feet, where this project's 400 of the shoreline bank stabilization. But overall, there was 14 potential bidders. We did this through MassDOT pre-qual, which is a rigorous process to get vetted to be a contractor for this type of work, which is obviously a unique project, waterways. And obviously the bid tab was in there for the 3 bids we did receive. So overall, it came in about 5.8% over what the estimate was. So I'm pretty pleased with that, considering the volatile market that we've all been seeing lately. So,
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. John or Robin, any questions?
No, I think, if we don't use these funds, we're going to lose them, and they're meant to be for infrastructure projects. So, I think we should go ahead, and as we discussed at town meeting, it's absolutely imperative that we move forward repairing
Claybrook
Road and do it soon.
Yeah.
Because it just continues to deteriorate.
Bob,
Okay.
in my packet, the first motion is awarding the
ARPA
Claybrook
money.
construction project to ET&L. So if you want
I-
to do it
No.
that way.
I was thinking that it should be the other one first, mainly because that
You want me to do the
100,000.
reconstruction project, Rick?
No, do the vote for the
I
ARPA
move to
funds.
award the Claybrook Road
Right.
reconstruction.
No.
Right,
No.
The vote
the other
for
way,
the
Bob.
ARPA for the
Right.
ARPA funds would be better first, I think.
right.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's the way the agenda is. This is 1.2.
No, the motion
the,
is the other way, Robin.
The other stuff in the packet is turned around,
Turned around.
upside down.
All right.
So anyway, I move to authorize the use of 100,000 in American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds for the Claybrook reconstruction project.
Second,
All in favor? I, Bob Springett.
I, John Jeffries.
Hi, Robin Hunter.
I move to award the Claybrook Road reconstruction project bid to ET&L Corporation of Canton, Mass, and to authorize the interim town administrator to sign the related documents.
Second,
All in favor? I, Bob Springett.
I, John Jeffries.
Hi, Robin Hunter.
Kevin, you've taken a big chunk of money. Make sure you use it well.
Hey, Kevin, speaking about big chunks of money, any update on the Mass Works grant or?
no, we won't have that for some time now. It was due June 2nd. So I did
Okay.
submit an application for $1 million for the construction cost of Willow Street and
Okay.
Dedham Street culverts.
Okay,
Okay, I'm on to 1.3. Discussion and vote where agreement by and between the town of Dover and Langdon Environmental LLC. DPW, Mr. Mr. McCabe will discuss Langdon Environmental's proposal for professional services related to the environmental monitoring program and inspection of Dover landfill and transfer station. Mr. McCabe.
Thank you, Chairman. The proposal before you haven't seen this in a while. The reason why is we are switching vendors. to Langdon Environmental. This is a state regulatory requirement that there's quarterly gas monitoring at the transfer station, that there's a post landfill cap, third-party inspection done annually, as well as the water sampling at the 5 groundwater wells that we have up at the transfer station. So again, this is just a state requirement we have to do. Langdon Environmental has done some work for us already through our waistband certification, and also as before the board several months ago for our SOP for our composting facilities.
Okay. Robert or John, any questions on this?
No.
No, and Kevin, the landfill portion of our area is mostly covered by the solar array, and the only area that is not covered is the area behind it, sort of the south area behind the solar array. Is there any? How do they work with the Blue Wave in actually doing the testing?
I would have to show you, I guess, John. I'm not directly sure what I guess what area you're referencing, but part of that, the annual submittal that we have to do to the state has that layout where all those wells are that they would obtain the water readings from.
Okay.
So
the wells are in the back. So the wells are set back far enough from where the solar array is, but I'm envisioning that these guys go in to do one thing, they look down at the ground and say they can't do what they're supposed to do. There's the part that is a landfill hasn't been used as a landfill in 75 years.
Right. So as part of the Blue Wave contract, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but we made sure that there was access to the landfill, and the contract allows to remove sections of the solar array if need be. But in order to avoid that, we made sure there was always access to do different.
So how far are they separated?
I don't remember, Bob. I would
Do you have
go back and look at it. I haven't. I know it was a big deal, and we worked with engineers and consultants to make sure that there was enough access if we had to repair the landfill. So, and we needed, and there's definitely room between each of the panels.
Okay.
But I remember there being extensive conversations with the lawyers and the consultants when we entered the agreement. But again, it was a long time ago, and I don't remember the specifics.
So are we good to go with this, or do you want to have more work done?
Yeah,
I think we're good to go.
And if I could just add, I would appreciate if the board would vote this contract in future addendums, as this is a state requirement, just to not have to, I guess, annually come back for efficiencies here.
So Kevin, what does that mean? That if it's not Langdon, it's going to be somebody else? Is that basically what you're saying?
No, that it would be the agreement with Langdon and a future addendum with Langdon. Should we switch consultants like I'm doing now, we would have to come back to the board to rectify a new contract or amend a new contract.
Okay, so I didn't catch what you said in the beginning. You
Yes.
want the board to do what?
so Kevin wants us to change the motion, and given that Carl isn't here, I'm not sure we want to do that. So I would suggest we just approve it for
And
this
save
year.
the other one for another day?
Right.
Okay, I move
Just
to approve
because
the
I'm
agreement.
just
By-
not sure. I mean, Rick, if you think
That's-
it's
Well, Kevin, he and I talked earlier today, and my understanding, Kevin, is that in the past, this is an approach that had been taken here in Dover in terms of
Yeah, this would be between
they have addendums,
annual-
right?
Yeah, the annual agreements that we've had with like the MS4 compliance that never goes away, and another one like this state requirement that it was, my understanding was the agreement, because the town administrator Dwelly would authorize those as was an amendment to this existing contract.
So
The scope won't change.
So we could postpone this, or we could just approve it and do it next time.
No,
Well,
Kevin needs it approved for this.
All right, then we can approve it this time and then make the change.
Right.
Okay, I move to approve the agreement by and between the town of Dover and Langdon Environmental LLC for professional services related to the environmental monitoring program and inspection of Dover's landfill and transfer station, and to authorize the interim town administrator to sign the agreement. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor, I, Bob Springett.
Aye, John Jeffries.
I, Robin Hunter.
Okay,
Robin, on the page 14 under task C, item number 1, it says inspection of the portion of the capped landfill outside of the solar array facility. Langdon assumes that the solar operator will continue to have their consultant inspect the area within the.
Yeah, as I said, I don't remember what
It's
was.
September 22nd, 2016 was when we did it.
Yeah, so I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't even remember 2016.
Well, there you go.
Right, here we go.
Thank
Police
you,
chief executive search firm recommendation, item 1.4. Rick's going to present summary. Mr. Rick will discuss.
Mr. Rick?
Rick will discuss the bids received in response to the invitation for bids issued by the town for police chief recruitment consultant services. The town received 4 bids, and public safety consultants met all of the minimum requirements. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in the package, you have a memorandum from Carl, which I helped him and to a large extent write. I, at his request, reviewed the proposals, 3 of the 4 proposals. One of the proposals was late in arriving, so it had to be rejected because of that. And then I shouldn't use the word proposal in a way, they're bids. So 3 remained. Of the 3, the proposed contract is with Public Safety Consultants of Boxford, Massachusetts. They had the lowest base price and they met all of minimum requirements of the invitation for bids. And so they do come recommended with their references. And I also just let the chief know today that this was the proposed contractor, and he indicated that he was happy and knows them to be a quality company that does this work.
Good to know, Rick. Thank you. John, any questions?
No, we've been waiting for this, and as we discussed last week, Carl and I have been talking what seems like daily about this process, and this is really the thing that we need to get the process started. The next, according to what Carl and I have discussed, and Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, if he's given you any other indication, if we agree this evening that these are the people we want to have, we make the motion to accept the recommendation. We begin by Carl and I have already discussed the candidate, the scope of the candidacy. The screening committee has lost 2 members before it's even begun the process, as you both
must be something about your personality, John. What do you think?
John, I hope they aren't permanently lost to this world and just lost to the committee.
They're just lost to the committee. Robin, Jim, our town moderator, had to step aside because of personal reasons, and we know about the disconnect with the first candidate that had to step aside. So that's where we are. This is a big step. I am very eager to get to the next step. So I am hoping that we are all in agreement that this recommendation.
Thank you, John. Robin, any comments?
No, but I will plug the assistant town administrator as a very good search committee asset. So I would encourage you to reach out to him. He was very, very, he was great on the TA search.
Oh, well.
Cool. Thank you very much.
And since he did such a good job, maybe we can reward him for that and ask him to be on another committee.
No, he's tainted now. He met us. You would never accept the position.
Rick,
Funny, I'm looking at his picture and I was like, wow, if,
All right, enough fooling around. I move to award the police chief recruitment consulting contract to public safety consultants and authorize the interim town administrator to prepare and sign the contract for these services.
second.
All in favor, I, Bob Springett.
Hi,
I,
John
Robin
Jeffries.
Hunter. Oh, sorry, John.
Hi, John Jeffries.
I, Robin Hunter.
Done.
Thank
Rick,
you.
I know tomorrow is your day off, but we probably will be speaking on Thursday.
Well, I don't know. I think there's a lot of work to do in the next few days, and
All the closings, right, Rick?
yeah, well, it's not just this helping out with for Carl, but you know, there's just some things that all come together and need to be done. So I'm thinking of coming in part of the day, at least tomorrow. So
Thank
We
you.
appreciate that.
We absolutely do.
thanks. I am scheduled to be away from June 23rd and through July 6th, and that was a statement that I made before I was actually retained. So
No, we do remember, as I
Yes.
said to you last week, Rick, when we met in your office, do not change those plans.
okay, I'm not planning on it. I won't have a home to come to if I try to.
Yeah.
All right, item 1.5. The chairs of the town's boards, committees, commissions have requested that the Board of Selectmen appoint or reappoint individuals to their boards, committees, commissions. Additionally, staff members whose terms have expired will be appointed or reappointed to their respective positions. So I don't know how many people we have here.
There's a bunch.
So the note to me says the appointments didn't have to be voted on individually. The attached sheet should be read and individuals can be appointed with the following motion. Says you prefer me to do that? Or you want me to break it into by committee or something?
Just the names, I think is.
Just to go through the straight names?
Right,
Well,
Okay,
name and position, right?
right.
all right. The following individuals will be appointed for one-year terms effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Nina Pickering Cook, Town Council. Kyle Benoe, Town Treasurer. Walter Avalone, Inspector of Buildings and Zoning Enforcement. Veteran Services Director, Walt Crew.
I think you should probably mention floating dock inspector for Mr. Avalone.
Inspector,
an
oh, and
additional-
floating dock inspector, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
We have four.
following will be appointed for various terms. Board of Appeals, reappoint Michael Donovan and Nancy Green. One-year term effective July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. Conservation Commission, reappoint John Sullivan and Tim Holliner. Three-year terms effective July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2026. Board of Fire Engineers, reappoint Ford Spalding and Kate Canny. Three-year terms effective July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2026. Open Space Committee, reappoint Connie Sullivan. Three-year term effective July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2026. Reappoint Tara Nolan, two-year term effective July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2025. That's it. Let me go back to the motion.
I will second.
I move to appoint, reappoint all individuals to the town's board, committees, commissions, and staff members to various positions as presented. Now I need a second.
Second.
All in favor, I, Bob Springett.
Hi, John Jeffries.
I, Robin Hunter.
Okay. Item 1.6, vote to approve license agreement between the town of Dover and Troop 1 Dover for use of a portion of 5 Whiting Road. But they're going to have to duke it out with Doug?
No, it's a separate
Piece?
Separate piece. There are 2 rooms. If you're looking at the garage, Doug has
Right side?
Yeah,
Left
it's to the left side. It's on
left
the
side.
side and closest to the to the driveway between the two buildings. They're just two rooms.
Okay. At the May 23rd, 2023 board meeting, the selectmen voted to renew the license agreement between Dover Automotive at 5 Whiting Road and the town effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Boy Scout Troop 1 Dover utilizes storage space at 5 Whiting Road, and Superintendent of Buildings Carl Warnick is recommending that the town renew a license agreement with Troop 1 Dover for use of a portion of 5 Whiting Road effective July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. Any issues or questions? No. I move to approve the license agreement between the town of Dover and Troop 1 Dover for use of a portion of 5 Whiting Road effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor, I, Bob Springett.
Aye, John Jeffries.
Hi, Robin Hunter.
Done. And then it's yellow and blue thing in there.
Yeah, there was a diagram.
Yeah. Board of Selectmen items 1.7, presented to Selectmen. Board members will provide updates on various topics, projects, and initiatives. How come I go first? I should go last. Progress update on the community center building project. So we got the vote twice. We now have money to continue the construction phase of the community building center. Community center. It's this is a landmark deal, right? This has been going on for 20 years. Trying to figure out what the heck to do with it. I think the building got returned to the town in 2023, in 2003.
I think Dave Haviland said he was on the school committee.
Yeah, he gave it to us.
The school committee that returned the building to us.
He did, and he didn't even tell us about the faults and foibles. He just dumped it. Look, that was coming in.
You're welcome.
Dumped it on. Dumped it on us.
Dave, what was the actual year?
It had to be around 2003, wasn't it, Dave?
That's yes, because we returned it about 8 or 9 months after Chickering opened.
Right.
Oh, I'm not exactly sure when it opened.
That might have been 2001. I don't remember that.
It could have been 3 or 4, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, but it was in that time frame. It was in the early part of 2000s.
Yes. It took almost as long to finalize Carroll as it did to build the original Chickering school. We were the second longest ongoing project in the Commonwealth's history to get Chickering built.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a big deal. That was a really small building prior to the new building. That was a big deal.
Right.
That was another $20 million deal.
Right.
Yeah. It was a fair amount. Okay, so really, we need to understand the construction management process team. So we should be talking to Ford about next steps. And then we need to come back and discuss community center management. So John, here's where I was thinking that under our presentation, I'm not quite sure where we think we're going with a joint meeting. It just seems to me, I've talked to people in the Park and Rec, and I've talked to people on CMAC for the past 2 years, and they seem not to hear what I'm saying. I know you, Robin, when you were chair, you also spoke to these folks. So I'm not sure what a meeting is going to accomplish. And I'd like to have some idea.
Well, I just thought it would.
It can't be a meeting of the minds because we haven't done that in 2 years.
No, I just felt it could help clear the air. I mean, I know they don't like the solution, but there's a reason for it. And we're not going to change it. The head of, whether you want to call it the operations person, the director of the community center.
Yeah, community center director. It's spelled out in it's spelled out in the job description. That job description is pretty clear.
No, I think the job description is really good. I mean, they need to understand they have a seat on the table at the table. You can't have a building that belongs to the town be the responsibility of a volunteer committee and not, the TA.
Right.
Because the buck's gonna stop with the TA.
Yes, and you want to ensure inclusiveness
Right.
in the
Right.
patronage of the facility.
Right, we want to make sure that everybody, again, it's a community center, so I understand people are upset, but let's move on. And this is a great thing for the community. So let's begin to build community.
Robin, I just go back to, this is a line item that we spent quite a bit of time, you more than Bob and I, in daily conversations with our new town administrator. And the process, the communication process, the things that he will be responsible for,
Right.
This is exactly what we were talking to him about. And quite frankly, one of the things that you spent a lot of time with.
It'll be a major challenge as well.
So I go back to Bob, my suggestion is, please send the letter out, and then you have the conversation, just like when Robin was the chair, when I've been the chair, when we all have been the chair. These are items that the chairman of the board takes up and has conversation or a whatever it is you feel necessary.
Well, I thank you, John. I do feel getting to consensus with a very small c is something that we should strive for as a board. I'm going to I will send the note next week, or maybe later this week. Carl reviewed it and he was happy with it. And then if need be, I think we should have that meeting. And so Robin, I absolutely agree that we need to clear the air. We need to get back to community, and we need to make sure we respect each commission and board's responsibilities. Right? This is pretty clear. This isn't one of those sort of foggy items. Facilities management are the responsibility, town facilities management are the responsibilities of the Board of Selectmen. It doesn't, Park and Rec have this to do, COA have that to do, and we need to respect the boundaries. That's a Dave Ramsey line, right? Stay in your lane.
Right.
And I don't, I'll try the letter. If the letter doesn't work, we'll have the meeting. And as the executive, I don't really quite know what it means when we're the executive board of the town, but I'm assuming it means something. We've made what I consider to be the final decision on how it's going to be run. And it's going to be run collaboratively. It's not going to be run like a freaking dictatorship.
Right.
Because it can't be, because it's a community center. What happens, though, is the voices of the insiders cannot outweigh the voices of the community. Right? Park and Rec have no more claim on the facility than Dover Mothers Association. And that's a change. In the old world, Park and Rec owned space, and they could do with it what they wanted. COA owned space, and they could do with it what they wanted. The town owns the space, not the departments. And ultimately, if we need a arbitrator, we can go back to have an advisory group. But the advisory group cannot include insiders. It needs to be citizens.
I don't think we need any of that. I'm not interested in any of that. We've made a decision. Let's move on.
Well, I think the job description, provides a framework that should be very successful.
I agree. You saw that, right, John?
Absolutely. And I just keep going back to this. We've spent a lot of time on a new town administrator.
Okay.
And this is part of the process. It's part of the.
All right. So listening to your counsel, I will send the draft, and I will, in that draft, there's an offer to have a meeting.
Right.
And if the parties want to have a meeting, we'll do that, because I think it's our responsibility as the board to do that.
I completely agree.
and then we will shut the door. John, I just don't know if everybody on the Park and Rec Commission are familiar, for example.
But it's you can that's I'm sure you're right, and we can talk about this. We can have these conversations and for a very long period, for a long time, but we don't need to. And
well, as long as you guys are comfortable with that approach, then I'll take that approach, and we can adjust as we go along.
Right. I think we're all on the same. We're all on board with what needs to happen. So, you know, we just need to talk about it. I mean, everybody, all the key stakeholders are going to have a seat at the table, which is the way the job description
is written.
Right.
Yep.
And I think that's the most important thing. You know, at the end of the day, we need to maximize the value of the community center to the community at large. And, you know, I envision if we do our job right, this building's going to be open from 6 in the morning till 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
I hope not.
way later, way later.
It will be a hub for the community.
We'll see. That's in the future. So I do. So we've taken over a lot of the running of the project, the community center project. Going forward, I think there'll be a smaller group of people who oversee the construction management process.
Who do you foresee that being?
I don't know. You know, there are a couple of people on there who are who would qualify. The question becomes, do we continue to lead the project?
Well, we have a owner's project manager.
Yep.
We have 3 members of the study committee.
Yep.
As you said, have deep domain knowledge.
Yep.
There are several people in town who run the largest construction management firms in New England. And certainly,
so part of it is, do we bring in new people or not? Do we change the mix of the committee members?
I mean, I was at a cocktail party talking to somebody that does a lot of capital projects. Yep. for a school, and they were telling me, you know, I was just talking about what I do for the town. And one of the things that they mentioned, which was a great idea, they said, you know, because I was saying, I'm thinking there's no role for a building committee. And this person said to me, well, you're absolutely wrong. There is a role for a building committee. It's a different kind of role, because they said, you know, if you have anybody in your community that's a designer for a living, that can make sure that light switches, like stupid stuff like that, are put in the right place, that the building functions. They said, I would strongly recommend that you add somebody like that to your, you know, the committee.
No, I actually do think that's sort of the internals, the placement of, you know, Cindy and I were talking about somebody who's having a house built, and they actually had a design consultant put switches and light switches and stuff in place in the I'm also concerned about the material choices. And I want, ultimately, the community center ought to feel like a country club, not an airport. You know, it's not really, it shouldn't feel industrial. It should feel cozy.
Right.
I don't know what we need to get that impact.
So I think we should recruit a designer in town, because this guy was telling me these designers are worth their weight in gold, like the stuff that they know. Because we don't have one, like many contractors.
Yeah, I'm okay. Well, going into construction is sort of the last chance to have an impact.
Right.
The other thing we have to do is we have to make a change order, so we get a community center director office. At the time of the various and sundry debates and discussions about how it was going to be run, I was assured by Ford that we'd have the space. So now, since we've made the decision half a year ago, I think that ought to be put forward and accommodated. And probably you're going to need a small.
Right. I mean, you need the director on the premises.
Yes. And you probably need a small conference room if they're going to do outreach.
Well, there are offices, right, for
They're specific.
But why did we, if we needed that and if Ford wanted that, why?
Ford did not want that.
I'm sorry?
Ford was going with the standard playbook. We're going to build the space. We're going to put in park and rec. You know, I mentioned it several times to him directly. I mentioned it several times during the meeting that wasn't a foregone conclusion.
Bob, are you referring to space while the project is under construction?
I was talking about space during the document construction phase.
Okay, so we have 5 Whiting Road that we literally last week and this week just extended leases on that are month to month or within 3 months leases.
Yep.
It seems to me that the Whiting Road property would be the place that we would do that from.
To what from?
Have an office.
That's going to be storage, remember?
Yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is,
no, John. It's the community center director needs to be in the community center.
No, I think you guys are listening to one another
during construction or after.
Yeah, John specifically asked, "Is this during construction?"
During construction, Bob.
Yes.
So if you want a space during construction, typically
you need to put in a change order.
It's typically a trailer, right? The trailer sits on the site, and the trailer is where the engineers are.
No. I don't want it during construction. There is no DCC during construction.
That's what I'm asking. Do you want a
it needs to be available when it opens.
So it's after construction.
Yes.
You want there to be a room for this person.
Yes. So during construction, I want them to construct the room or office.
Right. I mean, I just assumed there was an office for the directors.
Well, that's what I did. I assumed there was space. I'm calling on the space.
And I would assume there's a conference room that should be shared by Park and Rec, COA, and you shouldn't have 3 separate conference rooms.
COA has an office.
Right. I'm talking
Park
about
and Rec has an office.
I'm talking about conference rooms.
And we need one for the director of the community center.
Yeah, I was talking about I thought you mentioned a conference room.
I did. I said that this person may need a conference room. I don't know.
So
Only
do
because of
the
their
other?
community
So
contact.
my question was, do none of the other departments have a conference room?
I think there's one in P&R.
Well, I think it has to be shared. I mean, this is not P&R's building. You know, everybody if somebody from the townhouse wants to use that, they should be able to reserve it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and to that point, we used to use Park and Rec, the conference room near Park and Rec in the old community center. Sure. We used it all the time. So.
Yeah. So my thought was, if this person is dealing with the community and it's an outreach position, and you wanted to have discussions with different groups, an office would be convenient. It's not necessary.
Right. Well, I think you need an office.
You do need an office, yes. So I did send a note to the architects and to the OPM a few months ago saying, when we made the decision about management, that this was likely to happen. So it's not like they're not aware. But it all needs to get sorted out before construction actually begins, so we're not wasting money.
Right.
So the sooner the better. And if you support that, then it'll be the sooner.
Okay. Well.
You guys okay?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Okay. Upcoming agendas. I didn't really take a hard look at upcoming agendas. A lot of it had to do with year-end closing.
Right. I have one thing that I would like to talk about.
Don't you get BOS updates?
Oh, I thought we were. Oh,
no,
sorry.
I don't know. In the order here is upcoming agendas.
Okay, sorry.
It's all right. So anybody, we have the planning meetings. I mean, a lot of this stuff's still a little sketchy, right?
Right.
We want to make sure we have Mike with us during the planning meetings.
Yeah, I told Mike that Mona would reach out to him tomorrow with dates.
Right, so Mona has both 2 dates to be confirmed. That's good. We have a good August date, so that's good. So I'm assuming, you know, when we get to the end of June, it'll be cleanup detail, and people will celebrate making it over into 2024, FY 2024. Okay, so now BOS updates. Robin, you want to go? John, you want to go?
Yes. Yeah,
go ahead, Robin.
No, you can go ahead. You might want to talk about what I want to talk about.
There's a couple of things that I wanted to cover, Bob, with regards to just basic day-to-day things within the townhouse, with the absence of Carl, and Rick may be able to help with this. Carl approves everybody's timesheets on a week-to-week basis, and how are we going to do that this week? Is Carl going to do it, or does Rick do it? Or
I would assume Rick would take up that responsibility. Rick, is that right?
He's contacting me when there's something he'd like me to do. My knowledge of Carl is that if he knows of a responsibility, he will let me know if he wants me to do it. I have not done that prior. What you're talking about, I can easily reach out to him and get a quick answer from him because you know he's probably able to do that remotely, I think, and he has been doing a few things here and there remotely right now.
It was
okay. Maybe good to cross-check that, Rick.
Yeah,
I will.
It's just one of the things that I had the conversation with Gavin and on the other side of the house today when I was just visiting with everybody there. So that was one particular day-to-day item. You know, Kyle hasn't been here long enough to be just familiar with the literally minute by minute workings, but that's one thing. I wanted just to say a quick thank you to Ellie Hurd, who's on, and all the members of the committee, the volunteers who helped with the vote yesterday. You know, the election part there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of attendance that has to be there.
A lot of hours, John. There's a lot of hours that go into it.
And Felicia and the team, they do a great job. It's just something that has to happen. It seems like it just happens seamlessly, and that's never the truth. There's always a lot to it. So Ellie, thank you, and all the people who were there. Connie Sullivan, just some of the people who were there when I voted. So thank you, and thank you, you know, just for your continued service to the town. Bob, is just for the updates. There was also a quick shout out on Saturday. When it rained torrentially for periods of time, the Dover Legion sponsored the Music Fest, very well attended in segments when it wasn't pouring and the skies were blue. It was a great take for everybody who participated. So thank you to everybody who did that.
So John, did Hale start their education program today?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Did
the DA and the Hale, the DA team began in earnest. That there's going to be lots of updates. There's going regularly, and DA and the team kicked everything off. So we had a very good meeting of the Open Space Committee with DA and with Rob Warren on Tuesday of last week. So she's ready to go, and they're really excited. So Eric Arnold and DA, Rob, they were one of the first people that I reached out to once the vote was secured. So they're ready to go.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to follow up on Hale. I just wanted to make sure that we all agreed at the joint meeting we had with the Westwood Board of Selectmen that what we were going to do was put a link on the front of our website with Hale information and link, you know, basically say, here's how you get your updates on hail. And it was going to link to the hail website. So we would have a link on our town website to the hail.
To their website. That makes great sense.
Right. Is that what we agreed to?
Yes.
Okay.
And Robin, can we have our communication team help us with this?
Right. Well, Felicia reached out because she was asked by DA and she just wanted to make sure. And I said, I think that's what we had agreed to, but I'll double check. I know the other thing, the one thing I wasn't sure of right now was, as far as the CR goes, that's still in draft form. And did we make a decision to put that on the website?
I thought we talked about them putting a summary.
Okay, so everything's in this website, the votehail.org. And I think we should also put the press release that went out to launch the campaign.
So the other side of this, I was wandering around the townhouse today, talking with Felicia and Rick and with Kyle. So we need to be careful about the website because a lot of this stuff is falling on Felicia in terms of reviewing content.
How is that falling on Felicia? We have
because it used to be Carl.
Has to.
I'm sorry.
It was Carl Valente who did it.
But what's the communication team doing?
Well, it's not putting it up on the website.
It's reviewing it for
the
content.
Content is appropriate. So
right. That's what I mean. What if the communication team tells us the content is appropriate, then it should be.
They wouldn't know that, John. You need to know the town to know that. So when we talked about a website, one of the first things I said is we need content management.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but content management at that time, I thought it was going to be the ATA. But that has not happened because of the turnover. And so it's fallen on Carl and Felicia to make sure that the stuff that goes out is accurate, complete, and not offensive. So we got to remember that now with Carl out, all that falls on Felicia. And so we really need to be very, very careful about demand side in a supply short environment.
Bob, if this
was going into the summer, so maybe it's not a problem.
If this was our business, if we were running our business, we would go to our communication vendor provider and we'd call them in and say, we need more help. We need more support. We need more functionality.
Yes, and we got money in the next year's budget to do that, to do a review of the, but what we don't have is expertise.
But
the consultant, the comms guy doesn't have town expertise to know what he can and can't say or should or shouldn't say.
Okay, to a certain extent, I agree with that. But if they are, these people have, their resume is loaded with communication to various, being the communication firm for various cities and towns. They've done it from political parties.
So what they do, John, is they write the stuff up and give it to Carl Valente to look at. Right,
which is the way PR firms work. Like
sure.
That's how we do things, and I think
how we do it. But for the most part,
it doesn't help us. The communications guy doesn't help us to do the content management.
But they have people in their shop that can simply say, "We'll put this up on your website."
And they do. I believe they help with that. We just have to say, yes, this is approved.
This is approved.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're all saying the same thing. So.
But Bob's just saying we need to be sensitive that this week,
we have one person doing it
on Felicia. Yeah. And she's also planning to take some days off, which she deserves after
the election.
Right.
So that was one thing. So keeping an eye on the website and demand versus capability is important. I also spoke with Kyle and I spoke with Rick, and I would say Kyle is in need of help. and he needs it now. He, on one level. On the second level, it seems like we need to have someone come in and take a look at that treasurer's office operations and structure. He seems to think it needs to be redone, that there's been a lot of stuff that's accumulated in the treasurer's office that maybe should or shouldn't be there, but he's going to need help to do the analytical work, similar to what we did with the financial side back in the day. And Robin told me that there may be some recommendations in there to sort of get the mess cleaned up once and for all. This is going to have to happen now. And he's eager to go. He's a terrific guy. I love him. He's fun to talk to, but he needs help.
So I mentioned there was that treasury consultant that we used, and I am happy to reach out to Chris.
You want to do that, Robin?
Sure.
Because you have more.
And I know there was also a report done. So let me reach out to Chris.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right. So, John, do you have more to speak?
No, I just feel strongly that we have a firm. We voted to hire a firm.
And they're doing what we voted.
Yeah, they're actually doing work.
I'm not disagreeing with that, Robin, at all. I'm saying they probably have the capability. I'm willing to bet they have the capability to do the things that we need. Let's bring them in and ask them and have the conversation with them.
I don't believe that at all. $5 says you're wrong.
Okay.
Well, I think they're doing what we need. Ultimately, the buck stops with us on approving content that goes up onto the website.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the same thing is in my company. We have a PR firm. They prepare things, we review it, and then say to them, yep, you can put this up on the website. This Twitter feed is okay to go out. But ultimately, it's us, the company, that has the final say before it.
And we run it the same way.
Right.
I agree. We do too. It's from a compliance standpoint, although there are a dozen.
Right, and Felicia has the same compliance hiccup that her and Carl were working on together, and now this week it just falls on her. So I think all Bob was saying is let's be sensitive to the demands on people right now.
Exactly right.
I'm completely in agreement with that. And I want to bring people in so we actually have a person who should be doing it, not our town clerk. She should not be doing it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, John. 100%. But we have not been able to fill the positions. Right? This started in November. This is June. We have not been able to fill the positions. Now, I don't know if we're as slow as molasses in February or not. 6 months, we haven't filled the MPM position in a year. We have big holes in the organization that have been open for a while, and we're starting to feel the pain. And we need
part of it is the job market.
Part of it is the job market.
Right, but just so sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other updates, Robin?
No.
So we're good to go on?
Yeah.
Okay. Town administrator updates. Rick, it's up to you. Item 1.8.
I just tell you that I got a confirmation that the payroll will be taken care of.
By Carl?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yes. So I don't know exactly what you guys would like me to do. I have this project list that was in front of, or that's part of the package. Some of the things in there that I have been involved in, I certainly can tell you about.
I think did he go through the greens, guys?
Right. I mean, I think even more importantly, Rick, if you could just give us a sense of how we're managing things, and making sure that things don't fall through the cracks. While is out.
Yeah. Carl has asked me to do certain things. One of the key things at this time of the year is making sure that personnel action forms that are carrying forth the wages and salaries for everybody at the beginning of the fiscal year are getting processed. So I've been granted authorization to go in and approve what the department heads submit for that. And then after I approve them, they go on to the town accountant for review. So I'll be, continuing to keep my eye on all that. Actually, Carl has done a few, even though he authorized me to do it, just because that's Carl.
Well, he
and-
told me it actually helps him. It's, believe it or not, he said having things like this to do are really helping him get through this.
Yes, I can resonate with that. He and I are very much alike. Let's see, what else? There's a, if any citizen calls come in that require a higher level person to handle, I'll do my best to try to handle that. I have been spending a lot of time on a classification and compensation study with the personnel board over the whole entire time that I've been working here. And I'm pleased to say today, actually, that the board did all the final approvals on the documents that were generated originally from the classification and compensation study. So they feel good about how well organized the material is right now. And I think it will be great to hand that off in its final form to the new Human Resources Director that will come on board. So in that regard, I'll just report that I think you may all be aware that while we were engaged in the HR recruitment process, the Dover Regional School Administration reached out to us and asked whether or not we would be willing to consider having a joint human resources position together. And so we met to discuss it. I was a participant in the discussions with Carl, and in the end, the superintendent ended up joining the interviews of the finalists that we had planned for the HR director. And then the superintendent was impressed enough that she wanted to introduce the finalists to a team of management from the Dover Regional School Administration. So that also has occurred, and Carl participated in that. And a final candidate has been selected, and an offer letter is going out. It may have gone out today to the candidate. Now, parallel to that, to do this, because the Dover Regional School Committee is really a separate governmental unit under Massachusetts general laws, it's probably going to require an intermunicipal agreement between the town of Dover and the Dover Regional School System. And so a draft of the agreement was put together, and we've gone back and forth in some amendments and changes that each side wanted. Right now, where it stands is that it's almost in final form, and we're asking town council to just review it a little bit and make sure that the signatories are only two, which would be the regional schools and the town of Dover. There has been a question whether or not the Dover School Committee should be part of it. And it's unclear whether or not Dover School Committee is and the elementary school is a separate governmental unit. The way that terminology is actually defined in Mass General laws. So it may be that it's considered part of the town of Dover, and that being you representing the town of Dover would be the only ones that would need to approve the intermunicipal agreement. The offer to the finalists does have some wording in it that says it's contingent on the approval of an intermunicipal agreement between the two entities. And the idea is that that will be something we try to arrange to have done within the next couple of weeks. And so there may be a need to ask the three of you to clear a few minutes on at some point in time for a meeting to do that. And along with that, I'm aware of reserve fund transfers at this time of year that are, being processed. And I know that the Board of Selectmen have a role in approving reserve fund transfers. So I'm thinking that maybe we can get those all done prior to the June 28th meeting, perhaps. We'll see how things go along here. I know that there's a desire from the accountant's office to get reserve fund transfers done earlier than waiting till June 28th. So anyway, back to the HR director. I think it's just so you know, with this cost sharing that's proposed, it's 60%. The regional school is 40% the town. So funds that were allocated for this position would probably be reallocated to hiring what would be called a human resources generalist to work exclusively inside the townhouse and be supervised by the human resources director and be able to focus most of his or her time on Dover town employees and the Chickering school town employees because they do have benefits questions too. So that's kind of a nutshell on that particular item. I can field some questions from you now on that, or go on to the few other things that I'm familiar with on this list here.
So one of the things I had asked was that, we give Mike Blanchard the opportunity to meet this HR director and
okay.
HR director to meet Mike Blanchard.
My understanding is that they know each other and that they're happy, at least, well, this is from the HR director's viewpoint. Hopefully it's right. A two-way street, but
so I will send you Mike's contact information, and if you
that's fine, that's fine.
That would be important.
Yes. I understand they know each other somehow. So
that's good. Well, you
got to be careful.
Right. It's a small community.
It is a small community.
Yes.
So Rick, go on with your other guys.
So the assistant town administrator, we've advertised that the deadline the preferred deadline, I should say, it's not an absolute deadline for applications was about a week ago. And I have all the applications and resumes, and I'm trying to get into them right now to do the same process that I did with the HR director, which is essentially screening, deciding which candidates to bring in for first round interview, which I conducted on the HR director. And then after I'm done, I would discuss with the town administrator the candidates that should move on to the second phase of the process, which would be more of like a panel-like interview, which is also what we did for the HR director. I think both Carl's and my vision about the assistant town administrator is that the new town administrator should hopefully be involved in the process of deciding the final candidate to be assistant town administrator, since they would be working closely with each other. And
so I would suggest when you talk to Michael tomorrow, you discuss this with him as well, because sure. He is arranged to make time to be a part of this process, even before he starts on July 17th.
Right.
My view is we need to make sure that the position description is correct.
Right. So, I think it would be great if the two of you have a conversation.
So the position descriptions have been rewritten. So the old assistant and HR director have been split apart. They were presented to the personnel board, and
I saw the position description.
Yeah,
and it read it like bureaucratic baloney. The position description for the ATA needs to be specific to what we need. And I had this conversation at a meeting or two ago. And if we intend to increase the amount of communications, if we intend to increase the amount of communications, content management, and website management, it needs to be in his job description. When I read the job description, it was like a mess of anything. And it can't be a mess of anything because nobody can do everything. So it needs to be way more specific and way more tailored to what we think we need as an ATA. And this is exactly what I told Carl. So there should be no surprise.
Okay, well, what I'll say is that the job descriptions as written are, except that they're divided, are essentially the same as, and the same sort of form, if you will. And I know what you're saying, Bob, with respect to the, the bureaucraties of it, but all of the job
bureaucraties.
All of the job descriptions are that way.
Right, so you have to tailor them, right?
Well, perhaps. I mean, when you say tailor them, are you talking every job description for the town?
No. What I'm saying is for positions like director or assistant town director.
Yeah.
At director level, it's much more of an executive function. It's not a bureaucratic to do. That's all 1930s stuff. And so for directors, you hire directors generally for a specific purpose and a specific skill set. And so you need to have that baked into the job description. Otherwise, you really can't hold people accountable. And so this comes down to, what do we want people to do? What skills do they need to have? And how do we hold them accountable? So if you say one thing in a job description and another thing in real life, put yourself in a tough situation. And so my personal view is director level positions ought to be tailored for the job, just like the TA position was tailored for what we need now. And you're not going to get by. I mean, in an increasingly complex environment where technology is a much bigger factor than it's ever been before, cookie cutter stuff's not going to make it.
Well, I understand where you're coming from and hear what you're saying. What I will say is this, is that what you have right now is what was delivered by the consultants back in November.
Yeah, we know, we read it. And we knew it was bureaucraties at the time. And we knew we had to do it because, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't make sense for director level positions.
That may be. The other thing that I want to say is that under the way Dover is organized, any job description that's revised in some way has to be approved by the personnel board under the
got it. I understand.
Rules and regulations. So
yeah, I got it.
So I think to do what you're suggesting isn't necessarily, I'm not going to disagree with it. All I'm going to say is that it's a significant effort to do it for
I think it's a day's work.
I would disagrry with you respectfully.
You know what it is you want.
I think you got to deal with the employees who have these jobs in present sense.
There's only like 5.
Well, are you talking all the people in grade 4?
I'm talking about director level. I have no idea what grade it is.
Well, the salary plan has 5 grades. Other than the DPW director, the majority of all of your management employees who are also in many cases department heads are in grade 4.
That's the ATA is not a department. Is the ATA department head?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is the ATA a department head? It's direct report of the TA.
It's a direct, yes, certainly the ATA will be a direct report to the town administrator. Is that person considered a department head? I don't think that you can quite say that. I just
think it's director level. It has to do with span of responsibility.
Yes, I mean, sometimes they stand in to act for the town administrator when the town administrator is not available.
Well, we should have 5 people who can do that.
Okay.
I mean, this idea of, sort of this hierarchical thing is truly last century.
Yeah. Well, with all due respect, I'm not going to be here long enough to do that work for you. And I think it's a conversation that you'll need to take up as if that's a high priority for the board.
Well, right now I want to get a competent ATA and then a competent project manager.
Well, we've already advertised. We have over 30 applications for assistant town administrator.
But it comes down to what you're advertising for and what skill set you think you need to get the job done going forward. I think we need someone who has much broader communication skills. who can work with the website, who can help design websites, who can improve the communication to the residents, because it's going to be the only way residents get information. Right. And so I don't know if that's in that job. When I looked at the job description, there was nothing in there. And so what else is important for the ATA? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly that can be identified, those issues or needs can be identified as we're considering the applicants and as we're going through the interviewing process, so that maybe you look for the candidates that possess those skills the best.
Maybe you do, but otherwise, normally what you do is you list the skills and then go look for the person.
I know, I understand what you're saying.
I'm glad, but I'm not getting anywhere.
Well, it's too late if you want, unless you want to re-advertise and start all over.
I don't know what the pool looks like.
Well, we may have people in the pool that meet the criteria.
We may.
Yeah.
The chances are we don't, because we haven't asked for it.
Well, I think, I mean, Kate had the skill set.
Kate was not the communications content person. We need to relieve Carl and we need to relieve Felicia of that set of responsibilities. So we need a person who can actually do that. And we need to have somebody who can move the website and the use of the website.
Well, Felicia has a compliance issue. You know what? I think we have to take this up at a different meeting.
Okay.
It's getting late and we don't.
This is the same stuff I heard
and it should be
ago.
something we talk to Mike about, as he comes on board, which is why it's really important for him to be part of the process.
Agree.
I think Robin and Bob, you're saying the same thing. If just in the
can we move this meeting along?
Hold the lens back. You're saying the same thing.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we have a voice of reason. So, is there anything else, Rick?
There are a variety of recruitments and promotional considerations underway. There's a filling of a mechanic's position in highway DPW. There's a promotion to foreman that's also underway and being processed, not decided upon, but there's a vacancy for a part-time administrative assistant in the health department that we have applications for and that we're going to start interviewing for.
Is that the second one?
What do you mean by second one?
At one point in time during COVID, the Board of Health asked for a second administrative assistant, and we granted it during COVID.
They have to, yes. And so
but they shouldn't. It's no longer COVID.
Okay. I don't know what to tell you. I think you better take that up with the Board of Health. But one person in the health administrative assistants, they're both part-time, by the way. But one of them is retiring. That's a 28-hour-a-week position, and so we've re-advertised that, and we have some applicants for that, or not re-advertised, but advertised it. And planning director, we did go out on that. It didn't yield much results. So Community Paradigm has brought on board, working with the planning board to receive more applications for the position, and I know it's been advertised. I think that's about it for me.
Okay, any questions, John or Robin?
No.
Okay, thank you. Then we move to the consent agenda. Robin, I'm only 5 minutes late. 10 minutes late. Approve acceptance and expenditure of an $18,000 state non-11 grant for police department use. Approve acceptance and expenditure of a $67,977.30 payment from Aquarian Water Company in lieu of curb-to-curb pavement restoration work, and for a gift of 7 trees per the permanent resurfacing restoration agreement. Approve 2023 one-day special liquor licenses for June 1st, retroactive, June 15th, 16th, 21, 22, 23, 29, 21, 29, 30, July 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 13th, 17th, 18th, 21, 20, 21, 22, and July 24th, July 27th. August 3, 10, 17, 24, and 31. Do I have a second?
Second, now that's what now that's a summer schedule right there.
That is a summer schedule. All in favor, aye, Bob Springett?
Aye, John Jeffries.
Aye, Robin Hunter.
Okay, so it's 8:00, the adjournment was 8:05. My computer says 8:09. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved and second.
All right, all in favor, aye, Bob Springett?
Aye, John Jeffries.
Aye, Robin Hunter.
Thank you all very
you all.
much.